Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I am Dylan Casco. I am the second owner of GalaxyBusterTCG.
We call that co-owner.
Yeah, that works too. Well, there's three. I mean, we have a person that does the camera, Mr. Alex himself. I'd like to thank him for making the YouTube video for us and the whole entire channel. The deck I played at locals last Sunday
And topped,
unfortunately, was Dogmatika, Necroz, Adventure.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah, what's up, bud?
What the fuck?
So I hated getting Scythe locked. And I was like, you know what? I hate Phantom Knights. And I really do. So I was like, what deck doesn't lose to Scythe? I'm like, well, Dogmatika's cool, Adventure is free. And I'm like, wow, Necroz doesn't use its normal summon. So you're like, well, let's just pair them all together. Now, fair warning, anyone that's trying to build this deck for Rogue or anything, well, it's like $1,200, and I don't recommend building it for any type of purpose unless, you're just want to have fun. And, unless, or you already have the staples. But I think it's a fun deck. It performs really well. It plays around Nib. You play around Ash, or you bait Ash a lot because you have about 20 spells or monster effects that don't activate, or that when they activate, you have targets for Gamma to resolve. So you essentially have a deck where you just use all engines before you start summoning cards on the field, where you can't get impermed right away, or you can't get, where you can bait out a lot of hand traps, and then you end on ripping cards from their deck, or you end on ripping their extra deck for not playing because you have Unicorn, and you're just going to be kind of abusing Unicorn the whole time, which is fun.
We love to hear it.
Yeah, so, I know, right?
Got any shout-outs?
I'd like to shout out Mr. Alex Stoddard himself, Mr. Brandon, who's filming the terrible video we're doing right now.
Josh's brother.
Yep, Josh's brother. And Galaxy Buster themselves, we're having a tournament right now, about 25, 26-man tournament. We do them every week. We're eventually going to be doing a case tournament, and here on out, a Nintendo Switch tournament. So, guys, stay tuned. Please subscribe. Please check out our channel, and if there's anything we can do to help, make us better, to help, popularize us and anything, just give us suggestions, and we just love to improve for you guys.
Also, check out our tcgplayer.com page.
All right.
Go to the deck.
So, we're going to start off with the Necroz package. It's a very simple package. Can you see that just fine? I'm going to move the token here. We play the 3 Necroz Embryonic. This card literally says you can discard this card and search another Necroz monster, so that's how you get to the next cool card.
But they're not secrets.
I am getting some on the way. I know, I'm trash. Necroz and Unicorn. So you're going to use Brionek to grab Necroz and Unicorn, which is basically your main line of play with this deck. You're going to be using this card, or you're going to try to summon this card as much as possible, so your opponent can't play with their extra deck, which is really cool this format because every deck is going to be using their extra deck.
Which is so skillful.
Yeah. The other card Brionek searches, in case you did not draw the spells that we're about to get into, is Colossus, because he is a card that will search your Kaleidoscope or Cycle.
So why didn't you play Trish or Velk?
Trish and Velk, unfortunately, so I was trying to play them. Velk is cool for battle, but it's too slow, unfortunately. And there's just more utility cards I can use. I can just play Drobler or the Dogmatika cards. This is what really protects Unicorn versus Valk or Trishula. Trishula is an option for going into your side deck, because if you want to go and put as much damage as possible, it is an option. And I am currently trying it. So it's a give or take. I think there are more bricks than what you need to. The deck plays an absurd amount of bricks if you want to include the Adventure engine and driver and a few odds and ends. So that's my theory on it. You take it however you want. We play the 1 Cycle because that is not the best one, but it's better than Mirror. Summons them from graveyard, so you can retribute a level 4 in your hand, which is the synergy with the Dogmatika stuff and all that. So it's pretty cool. Kaleidoscope, undoubtedly one of your better ritual spells. This one with when you use Brionek to get Unicorn, or if you already have Unicorn, you get Kaleidoscope. You basically send Herald of Arclight, which is going to get you into your Dogmatika ritual cards next, and it just helps you, push for a bigger board, which is going to end on maybe a card rip from their extra deck, and whenever they activate, you can send more cards, and it helps you to put pressure on your opponent.
Good stuff.
So we're
So for the Necroz cards, right?
yes, sir. We play, what was that? 9,
Sure,
6, 7,
let's go with that.
no, 10. We are playing the 2 Ritual Dogmatika cards. These cards are fairly new cards. They don't really see the line of plays with a lot of decks or anything. But
Yeah, no one plays these cards.
yeah, but they're actually pretty cool because you open up, let's say this card, Mr. Nadir Servant here, undoubtedly one of the best cards in the deck. You can send a Herald of Arclight, search one of these cards because their attack are less than Herald of Arclight itself. And with that being said, Herald of Arclight will then trigger on the next chain, thus grabbing you a ritual spell. So with these cards, while on the field, when your opponent activates a card or effect, even an Ash Blossom, you can send one card from your extra deck, look at their extra deck, and send one from them. So if you're playing against Prank Kids, you send their Meow Mew, and so they're really slowing down, and then you can also send a Titanic Lad and during end phase, or you can even send the Natis to, start putting more pressure on their board. These are really cool cards, and this one does almost the same thing. It's just when your opponent special summons, they have a special summon from the extra deck, then you send another one. So they're decent. I like them having on the field. White Relic is also pretty cool, as if you already have Unicore on the field, and as soon as this one's ritual summon, you can target these 2 monsters. And if you had, like, let's say, said token on the field, that's 2,000 attack. Unicore will now be a permanent 4,300, which is now not everyone's going to beat over a 4,300 negate from special summon extra deck. So it's actually pretty strong in this type of scenario.
True story.
So we are then going to go on to play the 2 Ecclesia. I wanted to run. It's between 2 and 3. I decided to cut it down to 2 because eventually your goal with the White Knight and all that is you can send Titanic Lad and then special summon this out and get your Fleur de Lis play. So you don't have to really utilize, or you don't have to really see her. And since you're playing the Adventure Engine, you don't want to waste your normal summon on maybe getting a pop, or maybe getting a negate, versus the Adventure Engine, which puts on a lot more pressure. You play the 1 Fleur de Lis because
just search it on the
it searches it with Ecclesia will search it, and then you have another card to mess around on your opponent. Maximus, first or going second. This helps kind of unbrick or extend, especially if you send a Herald with Kaleidoscope and then you happen to have a Maximus in your hand. You can then banish that and then send 2 more cards. Therefore, you can get more ritual cards in your deck onto the field, and it's a good extender. You can also tribute it off with the Dogmatika ritual card because it's a level 8. Nadir Servant, undoubtedly the best card in the deck.
No explanation needed.
It's very hard to say why this card didn't get hit. It's probably on the chopping block again.
True story.
And I hate it. The ritual spells you play, Dogmatika Macabre and Dogmatika Calamity. Cool cards. This one, you can actually send one from your extra deck that exceeds the level. So anything that exceeds the level of what you're summoning is really cool. You can send Titanic Land, end phase, do your whole target Dogmatika plays, follow up, and push for damage. Dogmatika Calamity, you banish fusion monsters, synchro monsters, anything with a level in your graveyard, or tribute on field to summon out. So it's what Necroz Kaleidoscope wants to be. These cards, they fix ritual cards. Like, sadly, they're rituals, and you're gonna be going minus.
Ritual cards best deck.
Yeah, exactly. You play the 1 of Punishment. I was trying to run it too. It's just clogging when you start running more and more cards that don't, oppress your opponent. It's nice to see it when you already have a Fleur. It's just another option. That is the end for the Dogmatika engine.
Now the Door of the Explorer cards.
Yeah, if you're ready to play $400 and you're ready to go on a venture, here we go. We play the 3 Enchantress. Great extender, great starter, grab right. Literally no other explanation you can do on that. It just gets you into an Omni Negate as quick as possible. This card searches right summoning gets out, right summoning a token. Mr. Shining Gyarados here. and it's going to place you a Fateful Adventure. Excuse me. Fateful Adventure, pretty much one card that you always want to stop with Ghost Ogre. Gets you into Griffin and Draco back, which basically is a bounce on their turn if you're going second, which applies a lot of pressure on your opponent. That's pretty much what Yu-Gi-Oh is nowadays. Is just applying pressure and breaking boards and establishing your board.
What's a window?
Yeah, Windows trash, man. Necroz is the best deck. We don't care about DUA format anymore.
Debatable.
We are playing the brick in our deck. Ariel, going second, you send App Cologne to grab, Ecclesia plays and all that. And Ariel, after they use, let's say they use their Destroyer Phoenix, you send App Cologne, send Ariel is really cool because you can now banish all their follow-up and banish their recursion. So it's a pretty strong card. It sucks to draw because all your other cards, discard for cost, so it kind of doesn't ever go off besides by sending by card effect. Onto our utility cards that will help, boost the power of the deck, help search your cards, and we're playing hand traps as well in there to help stop your opponent for, mollywopping you. We play the one Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave, self-explanatory. Call by the Grave, helps stop Ash. Any hand trap that, you lose to, Droll you lose to in this deck, 100%. And no one mains it until you go to locals and someone decides to main it, and you cry.
True story.
You play the 3 Gamma and the 1 Driver. This card is absolutely free in this deck.
Best hand trap of the format.
Oh, 100%. This card, since you are playing so many cards that utilize you not having a monster on the field, Brionac itself, Colossus itself, heck, you playing the you play Chantress, Nadir, Prosperity, which we're about to get into. All these cards you play, you're playing like 16 to 18 cards that Ash is very strong against, and this is a great way to counter it. So you're basically essentially taking 2 cards out of your opponent's hand out of 1 card. So it pluses you. It presses your opponent because now they only have 4 cards going to their turn, and now they have to deal with, Unicore and an Omni Negate.
True story. Said that probably 5 times this video.
Yeah, that works, man. We play 2 Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is great. Just to kind of put pressure on your opponent. Hand traps are needed in every format. You can pick and choose, but the reason why I chose Effect Veiler is you actually can link it into Artemis as a normal summon, and after that you can, if you have an Ecclesia in your hand, you can special summon Ecclesia without having to waste your normal summon, and you don't get the effect of Ecclesia, and you have the Adventure Engine, so it just works that way. 2 Droplet.
Why not 3?
The deck essentially needs as much cards in its hand as possible. That's why you run a lot of cards that add certain amount of cards, and sending everything just to stop your opponent is bad.
Yeah, because then you have no cards to play, right?
Yeah, exactly. So just not you can't utilize Droplet as much as other decks like Phantom Knights.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about cutting it, but when you land on Unicore and then you realize you're facing dinos, you're gonna have a bad time. So using Droplet to kind of secure yourself from not getting killed is kind of essential. So it's always up for grabs. I usually side it out for more kind of like power heavy cards, going second cards and all that.
Of course.
We play the 3 Pot of Prosperity.
Budget.
It's pretty logical. You banish 6 cards because you want to utilize like 6 to 8 cards in your extra deck. So you essentially always have 6 to 12 cards depending on the combo lines you go that you can use to help search to out certain decks and certain matchups.
Perfect.
You play the 2 Preparation of Rites. Adds more ritual monsters. This is your 5th copy because you have 2. You have 5 copies of Brionac, which means you have essentially 8 copies of Unicore. Really nice. You play sometimes a brick. Pre-preparation rights. It specifically has to search the ritual monster and spell with a name in it. So it searches Dogmatika Macabre. So it's essentially a essentially a +1. But if you draw Macabre, the deck kind of doesn't work. So it's okay at 1. You can essentially cut this out, but you know, who doesn't like plussing a little?
Right. Let's just sell this. Let's just sell the extra deck, not the side deck.
Yeah, side deck's always up for, you know, people that depend. It's local dependent, so I don't really like showing the side deck because it just depends on how I feel like playing. We play 3 Herald of the Arclight. Herald of the Arclight, self-explanatory. Send it. Grab Ritual Spell. That's what you're doing.
Cool.
Omega, same thing. You send it with either Nadir if you want to shuffle back stuff, or someone is unlucky and you game with them. Another cool tech is Prima Donna. It has a cool effect if it gets sent to the graveyard. You can recycle your Enchantress. You can target one of your banished cards, shuffle into the deck, so you have a chance of drawing it again, kind of chance to re-push for damage, or you can shuffle back, you know, more of your Herald of Arclights after you banish them off Maximus. You play the Selene with every deck. Majority of the cards, or your power cards in here, are spellcasters. Special summon out spellcaster. Yeah, access code applies a lot of pressure, which is this guy himself. Access code, probably the best link for in the game. We play 1 Artemis just because of to help kind of unbrick ourselves if we open 2 Cloggy of Ecclesia and we kind of want to have a higher end board. These are what I'm siding out, or actually what I'm currently taking out, but it's nice going against like Dogmatika and whatnot. Is, you know, now you have effectively a free Omni Negate because people forget that Dogmatika exists half the time. This will eventually go into a Halki Fibrex because Halki Fibrex plays are really nice right now, and probably none of the Titanic Clad. App Cologne for applying pressure by sending Ariel then banishing, really strong card. Titanic Lad, end phase, excellent card for you to get a negate or to search follow-up in case, you know, you're playing against a control match. And the last 3 cards, you play Elder Entity Natis. Going first, going second, you know, they're going their turn. This is a great card to apply with pressure on just punishment, Nadirs. You know, it's a card that you don't really like need to explain. It always does what it needs to do.
Perfect.
Other than that, this deck is pretty powerful. This deck loses to Droll if you don't have the out. I give it like a solid 8 out of 10. I mean, for the price,
it's more like a 2 out of 10.
It's definitely a 2 out of 10. But you don't lose a Scythe, which is the fun part. So you actually can compete with the current meta game. And that's what I actually faced. You know, I faced Virtual World. I faced Dinos, which that was a very terrible matchup. I faced Scythe Lock. All those decks, they don't really do too much to you. Well, kind of besides the Dinos. You kind of laugh at them when they like, okay, Scythe, and you know, every deck right now is going the same linear line where their end board is just Scythe and DPE, and you can play through 1 disruption. And that's why I think this deck is fine right now. In the next format, probably not if they especially hit Nadir or the Adventure Engine, but it's fun for now.
Perfect.
I'll probably be adjusting it more on, but I appreciate you guys doing a deck video of me.
Check us out.
Yeah,
Check us
guys.
out on
Yeah,
Facebook.
if you ever need any questions on how to play it, don't look at me because I'm still learning how to do it. But yeah, thank you guys.
Signing out.